Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. We've been collecting rockmelons over the last week and some have dropped off the vine due to the rain and some were getting eaten into, so we grabbed those. They've been inside on the kitchen bench, hopefully ripening up a little bit more. We've only cut into one Minnesota midget like this one to date. It seems like no better time than Easter weekend to cut into these and have a little taste test. These both varieties I have never grown before. Last summer we grew the Hales Jumbo. I just bought seedlings from Bunnings for those and they were delicious. They were big and I'm not sure that they would have ripened in time for the summer season that we've been through. But these have grown and by the looks, no matter what size they are, they look edible. I'm just going to cut them all in half just so I can have a look at the difference. Some skins look completely different to the others and then there's some in the middle where they look as if they're a mix of both of them. I'm going to try and keep the seeds separated because I will be saving them so that I can grow some more next spring, summer. This is the Petite. It is an heirloom variety and well known for its sweetness, and unfortunately I'm not getting any of the sweetness in this one. It was nice and it tasted like a rock melon, but it was not the super sweetness that the seed packet said. Now we have to think about the summer season that we've had, and that is why I'm going to try and grow this again in spring and summer. But I will also be growing some of the larger rockmelons to go with it. This one is the Minnesota midget. The last rockmelon that we cut into, it was about this size. It's like a grapefruit size, and this would be perfect if you had a lot growing and you could just go and pick one every day. We can't get through a taste test of rockmelon without Hunter having a taste test also. I think he is a fan, no matter how sweet they are. He just loves the flavor of rockmelon. Any kind of melon, really. He loves watermelon also. Good boy. Keeping those seeds separated, and I'll be putting some on paper towels so that I can grow these again with maybe a different outcome. Although they have not been disappointing, I cut all these in half and they disappeared pretty fast. So all is not lost, and still have some hanging on the vine, and we're keeping an eye on those. Was it good? I was out here yesterday and top dressed this garden bed, got some manure on, watered it in, and and got some fresh wool mulch over the top. This lighter stuff I am going to use for around my garlic, but at the moment, right now, I am going to get these sweet peas in and soaking. I've decided I want to plant them along this arch, both sides, and I've loosely marked out where I'm going to plant the garlic because that is what I am here to get on with. The growth that they have done in the seed snails is quite amazing, so I am very keen to get them planted into the garden beds. First, I'm going to get all this seed soaked, and it can soak overnight, and I'll come back out tomorrow and get that planted in along the arch. So just the sweet peas in a cup, a bit of water on top, and that gives them a good head start for shooting faster. Here is my garlic. This is the New Zealand red, and it well and truly needs to go into the garden bed. I had no idea this was a trial, that it would grow this fast and the root system would be this generous. It is going to be interesting how it goes settling into the garden beds after being taken out of these seed snails. But so far so good. It looks pretty happy. And the sun has come out and it's absolutely beautiful out here in the garden. These roots have dug right into that coir in the base of that dish. So let's get this first one opened up and have a look at what's going on in here, because this is the first Hessian seed snail that I have opened. And I cannot believe the roots have gone into the Hessian, the back of the roll. When I planted these in the seed snails, I put down a layer of soil like I normally do. I put the clove halfway down, all the way along spaced. Then I covered again with more soil and rolled it up, hoping that the roots would not grow through the Hessian, but they have been keen to, I guess, grow into the Hessian. It would have been damp and it would have been sucking up the moisture from underneath. So it would have been a good source of moisture for them. But they are looking absolutely beautiful and such a good root system. It does concern me that now I have to plant them into the garden bed now they're this advanced. But it is an experiment and I can always get some more garlic if it decides to go backwards. Usually everything in the past from the seed snails has transplanted really well, so I have my fingers crossed that this will do the same. And this is the second one unrolling. It is just so beautiful to see it unroll. That's 2 seed snails full of the New Zealand red garlic. Lots of roots there, and I'll just spread out this seed raising mix and the coir over the top. Just going to count them into bunches of 6. I think 6 across there. The spacing is a bit tighter than is suggested, but it works out 6 across, and 5 rows is what I can fit in across my wire. So the depth of the arch. I'm having to dig the holes a little bit deeper just to get all that root system in, so that the cloves aren't planted too deep. I am wanting to put a little bit of the half broken down wool and pea straw mulch around the top of them. I planted these cloves in the seed snails on the 13th of March. It's 3 weeks. Getting those roots down in there. Hopefully they'll take off. There's a lot of soil in underneath that they can grow into. Just spacing those out very basically. And I think I only had 1 extra clove, which I just threw in between. And I put all the cloves into the seed snails, whether they were big or small. I think if you're going to not plant a small clove, then you're going to get no garlic bulbs, so you may as well just plant all the cloves. The bulbs you dig up, some will be larger and some will be smaller, but it all gets eaten the same. As far as I'm concerned, that's how we do it anyway. And there's the extra one, which I will squeeze in. Now I need to leave room for the net, because I'm going to end the net here and it will go back the other way so I can net all my brassicas. I'm moving on to this garden bed. I haven't done any of the prep work over here. In my last video, I pulled out the tomatoes and had that all cleared. And today I'm getting on with getting this bed top dressed and ready for planting garlic and sweet peas. just removed all that mulch. It is half broken down and a good light mulch that will be perfect around the garlic. I don't want to have that too damp, but I will be mulching pretty heavy the rest of the bed for the brassicas. They are heavy feeders, so I'm wanting to make sure that soil is built up. This is only my second winter planting into these raised beds, so I am still learning and figuring out how I want to plant them up. I think the bonus is that they are so deep that you can plant things quite close together because you have the soil depth. It's different if you don't have soil depth. You can't plant too close together. And I hope to be upgrading this watering system to the copper one like in the other garden bed. And this one will move across to the front of the raspberries, so it will be more permanent watering system for them. Now I've got soil pulled back, spread out evenly. It drops down around the edges of the beds. And this is my top dress. It has worm castings, blood and bone, crushed eggshells, and wood ash. Just mix that all together. And apply it across the beds. Now I'm leaving a little bit in the bucket for the banana. And now I just mix that into the top layer, just so it's not clumping on top. And some dynamic lifter. This is just the basic chook manure, not the complete dynamic lifter. And just mixing that into the top layer as well. Now some composted cow manure. I am still waiting on my delivery of mushroom compost to arrive. Just getting done what I can, and then when that arrives, I can get that spread out on top. I'm not going to wait for it to arrive to get my garlic in. I'm going to move on and get that planted, and then I can put a bit of mushroom compost around those, getting this watered in a little bit. These sprinklers are adjustable, made them so that you can put the hose on and you have a tap at the base of each watering system. Then you can control it. You're not running back and forth to the tap. You can also adjust the sprinklers from the top. There is a little screw in that you can wind in and out just with this little flathead screwdriver. And this is the first time I've been able to really get in and adjust these. These went in and the tomato plants were already established, so it's nice to have a bit of a play around and be able to get that spray going well. It is such a glorious day out here, so no complaints about being out here in the garden. The sweet peas have soaked and they are looking nice and plump. And the garlic is looking not too bad. One thing I did realize before I get my sugar and snow peas soaking is that I need to find myself a little sieve at the op shop, because I was losing those peas trying to drain the water off. Just dividing them in half. Half for this side of the arch and half for the other. Oh, the sun is just so beautiful this time of the afternoon. It has been a perfect long weekend, and my neighbours, you may hear, have been very busy. Some have been practicing the trumpet and others have been out on their angle grinder. So everyone's busy and outside enjoying. Getting all those along there planted. Hopefully they will come up okay. It's always a race to try and make sure that the slugs don't eat them off. I haven't seen many slugs around, so hopefully they'll be safe, but I am going to put some hessian over them. Just so the birds don't dig them up. This is just the hessian from the garlic in the seed snails. Just going to give them a little bit of a water in. I have to keep an eye and make sure that when I do see them just coming through the soil, that I get some raspberry canes. I've had some sitting in a pot waiting exactly for this purpose. I saved all the ones from last winter's brassicas and they will be perfect to just poke into the soil and make sure the birds don't get in there and dig up my sweet peas. Now these are the white hardneck garlic rolls. I'm going to get these in today. The two beds here, a third of each bed will be filled with garlic and the rest, 2/3 of the beds, will be the brassicas. These have done the same amazing root system. They are looking pretty happy. The green growth has been a little slower than the New Zealand red. And they're unrolling really nicely also. It's so exciting to unroll these, and the garlic just separates really nicely. Oh, they look so beautiful. You don't normally see garlic like this, so it is quite a delight. It's normally in the ground when it's at this point. And the green shoots are varied for this one. These are from the white hardneck garlic that I grew last autumn, winter. And we're also putting these seed snails on the 13th of March. I'm hoping that that accounts for me getting them in the ground nice and early, because garlic needs 6 months, so it will be a race to get these out of the garden beds and ready for tomatoes again. And they are separating so nicely. I'm not having to tug these apart, they just come apart. And I'm going to mark them out the same way. 6 across and down as deep as the arch. I'm very keen to get the mushroom compost onto the garden beds. I have the 4 advanced purple sprouting broccoli that have grown so tall that I'm very keen to get into the garden beds. This is a little later than I got them in last year, but they weren't as advanced. I've had them growing on in pots, whereas last spring I planted them into the garden beds nice and early after those tomatoes. So the timing is a little different. But the long range forecast apparently is for a dry, warmer autumn. So it will be interesting to see how all this pans out. And I've got a couple extras that I will just slot in here. And it is so good to have all that garlic planted. The purple beans are starting to wilt from when I pulled the root system out yesterday, and I will have to get all these pulled off once they start to dry out. We are forecast for a little bit of rain. I'll get all this garlic watered in. And it has been such a pleasure to be out here in the garden in this beautiful autumn sun.